Good evening, everyone. On behalf of JD Institute, we welcome you all to the webinar, Making the World a Better Space. Good evening, students and parents. I, Shipra Khanna, along with my colleague, Ms. Rashmi Jha, are here to talk about the field of interior design. Let me start by saying that interior design industry consists of consultants, designers, site engineers, builders, and vendors, all working together towards making your space a better place. So the interior design industry in turn is a part of building construction industry. Coming back to the specifically to interior design industry, it's a huge scale and growth can be explained through these figures. So you can see on the PPT as the market was worth USD 23.2 billion in 2020, and further it projected to be USD 38.2 billion by 2027. What a growth at an annual growth rate of 7.4%. Amazing. During the period of 2021 to 2027. This proves that there is a great work and growth in this field. Now, Rashmi, being in this industry for so many years, please let us know more about the industry.
Thank you so much, Shipra, and a warm welcome to everyone who's present here. You know, the figures you've just quoted, Shipra, are just so impressive. And it's great that all of us are a part of this fast-growing and ever-evolving industry. To tell you a little more about this, we can divide the industry into two parts, which is residential and commercial. Strictly talking business, economically speaking, the commercial segment is dominating the market. The reason is that the scales of project is much bigger. We see projects like hospitals, hotels, schools, retail spaces. These are massive and they offer great employment and work opportunities to our young designers. But I have to say that the residential segment is also evolving in a very great or progressive manner. Now we see that owners of not only luxury homes, but also, mid-size apartments and studio apartments, they're all availing services of designers. Another very interesting fact I'd like to share with everybody who's present here, that if we divide interior design market into North India, South India, East India, and West India, North India dominates, and it is expected to remain so even in the near future. And I'm very happy to be in Delhi now. So I think overall designers are doing a great job. They're contributing towards problem solving in their own ways. And what do you think about this, Shipra?
I think through Rashmi, I think the designers are the pioneers of problem solving. And more so in today's world, if I say, back coming to the growth of pattern of this industry, many people think that there is not enough work. So it's a mindset of the people. So still the industry is racing ahead. I'm sure you agree with me.
Yeah.
So would you like, I really want to ask you here, what is the growth that driving?
Yeah, I mean, that's true. That's a perception with many people. The fact is that industry is being driven by the booming real estate market. Also there are many other factors like, you see growing population. We are a country of vast population, the rising income levels, the urbanization, of course, the social media influence. And also another huge factor is advent of technology. So, all this has happened and this has contributed immensely to the growth which interior design industry has seen over the years and the projected growth also. Well, if I dig it a little deeper, people have got more disposable income, and this is happening both in small cities and big cities. Of course, that is happening, and they want comfort and aesthetics, and they're willing to spend on designing surfaces for this. In fact, there's a very interesting observation I read in a research paper, which is specific to the business class households. A business class households aspire to have luxurious and modern homes. The percentage of business class households aspiring for such homes is much larger. And this has happened because obviously, one is that they have the financial ability to do so. Second is the exposure, because just having financial ability is not the only thing. One has to be exposed and aware of what's happening around you and want to have that kind of house. So they're more traveled, they're well traveled, and they're more exposed, and they want to have those kind of houses. So I think this is a huge opportunity for our young designers. There is no end to the kind of materials. If you go to the market today, there are so many, every day the material market is changing. So many new things coming up, gadgets and technology, very fast growing. And both Indian and imported, you want a technology which has just come up in some other, developed country, it will be available in India in 3 months. So all that is happening. Also, another thing I'd like to say is that Indians are embracing new designs for their homes. And the reason is, I think, social media. I think you would agree with me, Shipra. This has really made people aware of the global trends. They are very aware of what's happening at a celebrity's home in California, for example. And so that is the reason, when we go to these modern houses of today, we see an influx of culture. Of course, there's an Indian influence, as should be. We are very proud of our heritage and culture, but we also see a lot of global trends being followed in today's home. Apart from that, Shipra, I think another, which is a very new thing which has come up, is smart home. This also has pushed our interior design businesses and market. So smart home technology and automation basically is what I'm talking about here. So, just imagine people sitting at home, operating their gadgets, lighting fixtures, ACs, doors, all from the apps, very simple apps in your phones, having electronic security systems. Shipra, hasn't this all made our life so easy?
I can say that.
Yeah.
If I'm in the office and I'm looking my house and closing all the things, that's amazing.
Absolutely. And I think the vision is of an interior designer. And the client of today also is very aware, and they are also ready to accept these advancements. They know they're going to spend a little more, to have these kind of smart homes, but they're willing to do so. Coming to offices, if you look at office spaces, they've also seen a huge shift in the way offices are looking now and offices are functioning now. So now, over the last 2-3 years, we've seen a lot of, actually more than that, co-working spaces. Last couple of years, we've seen a lot of isolated work zones coming up, and a very new concept again, which has come up in some offices, is neurodiverse spaces, which is basically designing office spaces according to the mental ability of the person who's working there. So that's again a very interesting concept. And of course, sustainable green offices. These are some evolving trends in office design. And, as I said earlier, this is an industry which is ever changing, ever growing. And it is because of so many innovations happening. So I think innovation, out of the box thinking, ability to be a problem solver, all this has made sure that the industry keeps growing, Shipra.
I could not have agreed more, Rashmi. Indeed, the future is bright for our young innovators. So here I would like to say that here in JD Institute of Fashion Technology, we make sure that each student of our every course like undergraduate, postgraduate, and 1 year diploma has good knowledge and the skills to be a responsible and successful designer. So Rashmi, can you share us the opportunities which exist for a designer who sets foot in the industry in today's time?
Yeah, of course, Shipra. I think that is what a lot of students would be very interested in hearing. Opportunities. So one thing I'd like to say is that the opportunities in this industry are very multiple and they're very varied. So that's a very interesting thing here. What actually one takes up is dependent on the type of skill set one has, type of mindset and aptitude of the young professional who's passing out of the college. So for starters, you could be a part of any design firm, which basically designs for people, for like residential people to live in, or retail spaces or office spaces, etc. And obviously, these include architectural firms and interior design firms, furniture designing firms, and construction firms also. Here, a young professional is responsible for basically making drawings on softwares, material selections, client meetings, if you're very lucky, and also site supervision. So basically you work, as a part of design team. Another very great job opportunity is in software. So students, who are very good with software, and, by the end of second year, I think they're able to figure out that they can work as 3D modelers in the industry. So at JD, one gets knowledge on the softwares, which is absolutely relevant to the industry, because, this is very important. And why I'm saying is because, industry also keeps on moving from one software to the other. There's always upgradation happening. And it is very important for an institute or a college to be aware of what is the demand, in the industry, and, keep on evolving your software curriculum as per that. So, we know that the world is going the digital way, and therefore the job opportunities in this particular area, they're very well paying, and they're also growing exponentially. So that is one. Apart from that, I can talk about retail and manufacturing. So I think these two are also opportunities which are great for our students, young professionals. So when I talk about manufacturing, things like modular furniture manufacturing unit. And, I've seen some new companies which have started to make these multifunctional furnitures, after in this work from home scenario. So furniture modeled around that. Kitchen manufacturing units. So these are examples of manufacturing sectors. Some investment involved, but yeah, the returns are great if your product is niche. And then when we talk about retail, here we are talking about opportunities where, you could be employed, or you could be working furnishing company or a furniture company or a lighting company. So a lot of these showrooms or a lot of these retail companies want to hire interior designer because of the basic knowledge they have about these materials and these products. But what is important, when one gets into retail is that one should have great communication skills, because that's important. You're always dealing with customers, and also good marketing skills, because a job in a retail sector would depend on that. But again, it's an opportunity. Then there are very, I talked about varied kind of companies which are hiring interior designers. So, there are event management companies which are looking for interior designers. There are hospitality sector, five-star hotels, Oberoi's and other, Taj and whatnot. So they always hire designers, because, they're always working on the aesthetics of their space. Interior styling is another great opportunity. Theater, set designing, TV sets, films, and another wonderful in terms of social media is digital content creators. Again, with a backdrop knowledge of interior designing, and you become a digital content creator. That is another very upcoming field, I must say. So I think, Shipra, I mean, I can go on and on about the opportunities. There is really no end to it. It depends on what one wants to take. So I think let's stop here about the work opportunities, because we could go on and on.
Wonderful. I think the opportunities you mentioned here are amazing. Students at many times are not sure, Rashmi, I think so, when they step out of the college, what they want to do. So I'm sure this has given them a good input about the opportunities that are available to them once they finish up their course. But here I want to ask you one thing: one wants to be an entrepreneur. You said about the job opportunities. So after all, it's a time of startups, and many professionals want to build their own brand. So how to go about this? Can you throw a little light on that?
Yeah, of course. So I think, Shipra, you are very right. A lot of youngsters are very bold these days. I don't think I could think of having my own company or a startup when I was in my 20s, early 20s. But yes, there are a lot of young professional students who don't mind jumping the bandwagon of being an entrepreneur quite early in their life, and which is great. And especially, people who got business acumen, or are from families they've seen businesses in their house. So, they want to do this earlier. But what I want to highlight here is some of the skills which are required, whatever path, whatever kind of business one wants. But it is extremely important that one works towards building a brand out of your own business, out of whatever business you open. But, your goal should be to build a brand out of it. So here, what is really helpful is first having a clear goal, because you have to know what you want to achieve. Ultimately, what do you want to do with that business? So having a clear goal, having a vision, how are you going to achieve your goal? What all steps you have to take to achieve that goal? Very important, a unique selling point, or a USP. Market is flooded with startups also, and a lot of people want to get into brand building businesses, etc. So there are a lot of products available. For example, you want to set up a manufacturing unit. Well, how is your product going to be different from what is already existing in the market? So a unique selling point. You have to differentiate yourself. Even if you're setting up a design studio, differentiate yourself. And so having an individualistic style is so important. These are some basic skills. Also now, one always has to be keen to learn. So one has to be abreast with the future trends. You have to know what is happening today. You have to know what will happen in the future. Knowing about materials, you have to keep on going to the market and update yourself on materials. It's not that once you've learned materials in college and that's enough. No, it doesn't happen like that. And emerging technologies, you have to know about these things. All these are key points towards building a successful business. Of course, when one wants to build a brand, then marketing also is a very important thing. And I think the role of social media is huge there. It's a very powerful tool to promote one's brand. So this cannot be ignored. So, out of what all you could do, I think, let me mention first a design studio, which a lot of students think about, or young professionals think about. So a professional may choose to set up their own design studio, and they want to do design consultation. They want to get into making drawings on using softwares. They will have client meetings, and they will do site supervisions. Here one could also think about turnkey projects where one is also responsible for the site construction work. So yeah, that is another thing. uh, Apart from that, you could do some investment and set up your own production unit. You would want to set up a kitchen cabinet manufacturing unit, or a hardware manufacturing unit, or or something to do with glass or partitions. So whatever niche you want to create, you could get into production or a workshop or a manufacturing unit. I have seen youngsters getting imported machines. I know somebody up a kitchen commercial unit using German machines, and so there is a lot of scope there. Some professionals may also choose to get into the retail of products. So setting up your own showroom. Again, marketing skills are very important here. So all these are some avenues. Since Shipra, you mentioned startups. Uh, so in this time of startups, I'd like to share information about these two wonderful companies which I came across in the interior field. So interior field is also seeing a lot of startups, which is amazing. So one is Flip Spaces. Now, Flip Spaces is a technology-enabled interior design firm and basically dealing in office spaces. Now, this particular company raised $2 million from a consortium of family offices. Just imagine the kind of money they could raise in this field. Another wonderful company is Design Cafe. Now, Design Cafe is a Bangalore-based company. It's again an interior design startup. Now, this company raised $25 million, which is, Shipra, it's an exorbitant 166 crores. I mean, that's a huge, huge, huge number. In a new
Wow.
series of
Yeah.
funding, they just raised it. All this just goes on to show how big the market is. And when the market is big, the opportunities are big. So definitely that is there. So, while we are talking about these startups, I'm so pleased to introduce, an alumnus from JD Institute of Fashion Technology, our college, called Shivangi Dhaya. She did a PG course in interior designing from JD Institute of Fashion Technology. And now she's a proud owner of her own firm and doing wonderful job. So, I'm very happy to have you here, Shivangi, and over to you. Let her share something more about her company.
Shivangi, you are on mute. Can you please unmute yourself?
Hi, good evening, everyone. Thank you for the kind introduction, Rashmi ma'am. That means a lot. And I would like to introduce myself here to everyone who's listening. This is Shivangi Daya. I am a proud founder of Revicasa Interiors, which is nearly a 4-year-old company. And by God's grace, we've been successfully delivering more than 25 projects now, catering to residential, hospitality, and the commercial spaces. So I think it's an honor to come here and talk about my journey, because I have had a very learning experience from JD for 2 years. I did my post-grad course from here. And let me tell you, everybody who's listening here, who thinks that you don't need a certificate, you don't need a qualification to be somebody in the business, it is very much needed. I mean, right now, I'm able to do what I'm doing right now. It's all because of a lot of experience that I have gained in 2 years. It is not easy for anybody to establish a brand. It is all about the vision that you have. That is your own creative thing, but you also need a backing. So I think when I started, it was, again, my family did belong to this business. So it was a very different play for me altogether. But everybody used to be like, "Arey, you're too young, you're just 25 for a business. Tum kaise kar paoge? Paisa kamana aasan nahi hai, interiors karna aasan nahi hai. Nobody's going to look at your face and give you a check of 5 lakh rupees for your consultancy," or so and so. But yes, I did the hard work. I have actually run across the markets day and night and did my R&D, which I still do, by the way. I do have a staff of people who are working with me, under me, but I still take the pain and do all the designing and research work by myself. And it's been great that I am getting this opportunity of coming here and talking about this with the panel itself. And I think I envisaged my way through my last semester in 2017 in JD. And that's when I realized I wanted to open my own studio, my own company. So we are basically a one-stop solution for all the services related to interior designing. We do turnkey projects as well. We give consultations as well, and we do the home decor part only. So we are basically trying to build a brand wherein one person walks in and gets everything. We have started our furniture manufacturing also. Coming about talking about the challenges here is that there are a lot of big fish in the market right now. They're big sharks, what you call them. And when people try to, take your skills, put them in use, but do not want to give you enough credit, that is, I think, the biggest challenge we youngsters are facing right now, because of the experience which they think is too less for you. And obviously they would always compare you with the leading brands who are there since 20 years or 30 years. I think there's one more thing which a due credit is for JD here is not just about the interiors. We've been actually taught about the business aspect of it. And I think, Rashmi ma'am, by you yourself, you have gave us a little more tips about the marketing, about the BOQ knowledge. That is also very, very important, which I actually never knew until and unless we started our own thing. So of course there are going to be challenges, but it's about your vision, what you want to make out of your brand in next 5 years. So I think, yeah, we're on it.
Thank you, Shivangi, for letting us know about your journey and hardship you have done, which was very, very great, I would say. I am sure it would have inspired the present and future students present over here. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me here. Thank you.
So, Rashmi, moving forward, I heard that the Skill India program, you told about the private sector. So, the startups are moving and the brands are coming. So, what about the public sector? If I say Skill India program, RPM's program under the government of India is working on all sectors. So, can you help us to know how the industry is getting, specifically our industry is getting the benefits of Skill India program?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think not many students, many people might know about this. So, Government of India has constituted the Prime Minister's National Skill Development Corporation. National Skill Development Corporation is also known by NSDC. And this comes under the guidance of a ministry, a newly formed ministry, which is Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship. You could see the name on the slide as well. So NSDC has introduced an initiative which allows aspirant candidates and students to register for skill training. So any aspiring candidate or a student, they can register for skill training or learning, and they can get certification by Skill India, by Sector Skill Council and the ministry. So you get certified by Skill India, by Sector Skill Council, and by the ministry itself. I'm so happy to share with all of you here that at JD Institute, JD Institute has been awarded accreditation by NSDC, the National Skill Development Corporation. And now the students here would have an opportunity to register for the skill-based assessments. So, any student who's here could want to register for the skill-based assessments. And what it does is that it not only equips them with a government certification, I think it holds great value, a government certification, but also enhances their employment opportunities. The employment opportunities because of the certification would exist both in public and private sector. So I think that has been a wonderful addition, in terms of opportunities which is being offered to students now.
That's great news. I think it's wonderful.
Yeah.
Another thing that is coming to my mind is So what makes Radiant stand out in the industry? So here I want to answer, we here try to fill the gap between the learning and the professional industry by imparting our students with the knowledge of skill of business communication and project management. Also, alongside providing with them internships and placements. I think so most of them are like, when we'll get the placements, when we get the internships, they're very excited to join the industry. Okay, Rashmi, I think so. This made me look back to the year of 2020 that hit the pandemic. So it was indeed a challenging time for the academic industry. In fact, the students and the entire team, you must have faced that, and I was there with you. So we took the challenge to move from a physical to virtual learning environment in a very, very smooth manner. I think you should agree, and you would be agreeing.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah. So our undergraduate, postgraduate, and one-year diploma students, I would want to share with you that who graduated during this time of pandemic are working and growing well in the industry. Some of them have moved towards the entrepreneurship. So how do you think what had affected the interior design industry? Does the pandemic affected, or we are the lucky one? I would say we were the lucky ones who got away from the impact of pandemic totally. Can you please throw some light on this?
Yeah, sure, Shipra. Well, compared to some other industries, I must say that we haven't been unlucky.
Thank God.
Yeah, thank God for that. But with the current slowdown in the world economic growth, if we see, interior design industry also suffered a specific impact. We cannot remain untouched. But still, the forecast, whatever has come up, the forecast which has come up on very important forums. So they say that it is expected to maintain a relatively optimistic growth, and this is also for India. This is specifically for India and globally also. So that's a positive sign. And apart from the numbers, Shipra, what I'd like to highlight here and what needs to be applauded, what needs to be highlighted is how, our young designers and established designers, they understood the issues during the pandemic. They provided design solutions which were relevant to the current scenario. You've seen, I've seen innovative workspaces happening, multifunctional rooms, multi-purpose furniture, very out of the box storage solutions, walls which are collapsing, moving, and, of course, hybrid spaces. Of course, many of these things were existing earlier also, but the way innovation has happened in a multifunctional furniture, for example. So that's creditable. Our homes became very successful workspaces. That was a need of the hour. So designers work for that. And, when we talk about offices, they needed to provide comfortable, relaxed, and also stimulating environment to the user. Focus, is always during the pandemic, I would say the focus was clearly on the mental and physical health of the user, be it an office or be it a residence. And therefore, a whole category of interiors, which is emphasized that well-being has become very popular. So now you see green environments, you see people talking about indoor air quality, people talking about sustainability, materials which are sustainable, which, paints, people, generally people are so aware that, you want to use paints in your home, which don't provide you any health hazard. So these things are being used, these things are being talked about much more. We always knew sustainable, we always knew that health is important. But the way these things are coming in our homes and offices is really immense. And I think the credit goes to designers. And, all this does suggest, Shipra, that designers did not look at pandemic as a kind of a hindrance, but they took the pandemic as an opportunity rather. And they innovated to solve the issues which were faced by people in terms of the indoor building spaces. So I think, yeah, it's been great.
I think what you have talked about, Rashmi, shows that there are multiple options now at times available to the interior designers.
Of course.
Yeah, I think also the fact that is extremely important is to stay focused, what's going on, and updated in terms of materials, emerging technology, and issues in hand. So here I would like to know more what are the future trends in the interior designer industry. I'm sure most of the students present here would like to know about the same.
Yeah, sure, Shipra. So, thinking about 2020s, I think it's all about technology. I think you would agree, Shipra. 2020s is
Yes.
all about,
Yeah.
technology. And I think the trend is going to go bigger. It's going to occupy bigger space in future. We've already seen rooms which are designed around technology, like, voice activated curtains, voice activated blinds, lights, etc., sensor devices, security systems. And the aim is clearly to, make a smart home. Everybody wants a beautiful home, but, now we want a smart home as well. Another trend which is really caught up again is biophilic design, and a lot of designers are logged on to it, and more designers are learning about it so that they can use it successfully. And here the design aims to integrate nature into the building basically. And idea is again to improve health, in terms of mental health, in terms of physical health, and even the overall environment, the overall natural environment. So everything counts. Here we see a lot of use of reclaimed wood, use of hanging plants, green walls, large green installations occupying a lot of space in commercial areas. That has become so important. You're building green installations, and those are occupying space, and people are seeing meaning in that. So again, another trend is sustainable practices. They are gaining momentum. Biodegradable materials, bamboo, rattan, wicker are being used so much more. Of course, they are very, I think they're very aesthetically pleasing to look at. I think, Shipra, you would agree. Rustic, but very nice to look at. They're also high on functionality. You could do so much from bamboo, right? From a flooring to a partition to furniture, whatnot. But the main thing is that these things are planet positive. And what's more important than that? Here, I would like to take all of you to the far future. If I may say 2050, sustainable, biophilic, everything would be still there, would still be very important. But designers would have a larger role here. So designers would be working towards achieving the objectives which would have been set up by their respective governments. For example, government of India would have set up a objective or a goal that this is the percentage of clean energy which you have to use in each house. So you would have to rely more and more on solar and wind energy and so on and so forth. And there would be laws for that. There would be restrictions. You would have to do rainwater harvesting probably in all the projects you do, which is not so in this today. We're talking about it, but these are not governed strictly. So we would be working at fulfilling those targets, designers. And so we would be working at renewable energy uses, less carbon footprint, substituting materials with more sustainable ones, and so on and so forth. Another trend I'd like to talk about is hybrid home spaces, which is obviously, the with pandemic, this was born, this trend. And work from home environment, relaxation, home entertainment. So all this we want from the same space. We want our living room to get converted into a home office also, for relaxation also, for entertainment also. So designers are obviously thinking more flexible and multifunctional. That is the demand of the day. Uh, I would also like to talk about aesthetics. So, we've been talking about sustainability and functionality, etc. Obviously, we all want our houses and spaces to look nice or aesthetical, etc. So, when we talk about aesthetics, there is no one answer because everybody wants a different kind of space. It's not simple to say ki kya trend hai in terms of aesthetics. But I can easily say that there is one trend which is known as luxury minimalism. That is really a trend which the next gen professionals are, gravitating towards. So when we say luxury minimalism, we are talking about super glam or very high glossy finishes, easy to maintain. We are talking about very detailed and streamlined and clean furniture, very flexible and functional spaces. So these are some keywords around, luxury minimalism. Yeah, so more or less, this is what I would want to talk about trends. But Shipra, can you, since I talked about technology, would you want to elaborate on the use of technology? Specifically, I'm very interested in knowing in the interior design industry, like in terms of spaces, how does technology go there? Also, while we are sitting in our studios and designing, so what is the role of technology there?
So, Rashmi, I think so. That's the most important, and I love this part of technology. So, technology has boosted the design world and is going to more and more visible in the near future. First, I want to know about the virtual reality. It helps to analyze space designing and material used in the project beforehand. That's amazing. That gives a tremendous overview how the space is going to look, feel, and function to the user and the designer. So it's a very benefit once what materials, expensive materials you are using, you can see and feel it beforehand. Next comes to the augmented reality. It's the most happening in today's digital world, I would say. So there are many brands that are working on augmented reality like Apple, Lenskart, and Pepperfry. You must have also experienced it. So here I want to tell you about my experience of buying furniture from Pepperfry. I just use that app and paste the uh, that app was using on the furniture I want to try on my space. So I just placed my phone and I was able to see how the furniture will look, the feel of the environment, will it go with the color combination or not. So before buying it, before spending my hard earned money on it, I can check how the furniture will look. So I had many options. So it gave me an idea of the furniture on my space sitting at my home. So that was very, very interesting to me. And the last one is the artificial intelligence and robotics, and it's been working in many, I would say, many streams right now. So it has been an integral part of homes, providing countless assistance from your usual morning updates and security from the unwanted guest. I know, Rashmi, if I come to your place and you have this thing, I will be an unwanted guest for you.
Absolutely not an unwanted guest, Shipra, but yes, I know what you're trying to say.
Yeah.
From what you've explained, obviously it is clear that design and designing both are going the digital way. And, I remember in my times of being a student, when I was a student, and even in my early professional years, I think use of technology in making drawings was non-existing or very, very less. And designing it was absolutely minimal. So, can you shed some light as to how, because we all know that how this is so important now. So, just tell us more about how students here are being prepared to work in the digital world.
Course, both the digital and designing world is very, very exciting for me. I really love to talk about and work for it. So I think my academic years that, as you mentioned, so I'm remembering my academic years were the transition period between the traditional designing as you faced it to the digital designing. So here at JD, especially, we really emphasize on teaching software that has demand in the industry. So during the initial period, at the starting time, we emphasize on AutoCAD 2D. Then that helps us students to draft and show their technical drawings where they can evenly present it very beautifully through AutoCAD 2D. And after moving further, then they move towards the rendering presentation through Adobe Photoshop. So they can visualize the material they want to put, the concept, the mood board, the color palette, and even the furniture board. So it gives a very good idea even to the tutor and to the student what they want to explain. Next come thereafter the most interesting part that I really love, and that's the heart of me, that's 3D modeling. So here we teach basically three softwares: AutoCAD 3D, SketchUp, 3ds Max with video rendering. So students learn to make 3D models and even the walkthroughs of the spaces, which gives them a realistic and a mesmerizing view. I show you have seen the portfolios and
Absolutely.
you are totally impressed the work the student has been showing to their tutors.
Yes.
So after doing and working on the design projects, we finally work on the final portfolio that is done on the software Adobe InDesign, which is very, very important, I say, for the industry placement and a gateway to their success ahead. I'm sure you agree with me over here.
Yeah.
So I can clearly say that the future of the students in this field is very bright. Okay, I think you agree, totally agree with me on this.
Absolutely. I think, software has a huge, huge role. And I've seen the portfolios, as you said, and tremendous work, of course.
Yeah. So another thing that comes to my mind while we were talking about the role in the industry, the startups and everything. We being the parent, I am a parent, you are a parent, Rashmi. So what is the role the parents play? What is important the parents can help to their children? So Rashmi, what is the contribution of parents in building their child's career, especially, and especially they are from the same industry? I was not the lucky one over here, I would say.
Yeah, same here. But yeah, of course, Shipra, I think parents have like an immense contribution to make, be it in any field. They have the most role in building their child's career and personality, because I think both are very linked to each other and any field. Since you talked about coming from a related industry, uh, if the child is lucky to have a parent who's from a similar industry, so the first point which comes to my mind is the home environment. What happens is that the student is very early, or the child is very early exposed to the nitty gritties of the industry, and all that in a very conversational manner. He's hearing his father or mother talking about maybe some site, or maybe some materials, or maybe some financial decisions are being made around the business. So he or she is hearing it, and when they're hearing it, this helps in somewhere, it helps in building their interest towards their field. So very early on, they realize what this profession is all about. And either they won't be interested, but at least they'll be exposed to it. So they will, many times it helps building that interest. Also, another factor is that students have obviously very easy access and exposure to the industry, through their father or mother. So when I say exposure, I'm talking about, they could visit sites, they could be connected to material vendors. It's very easy for them to be connected to other professionals. For example, a designer is working with architects, a designer is working with a builder, a designer is working with a civil engineer, a designer is working with an HVAC engineer, and so on and so forth. The list is endless. We don't work in isolation, that. So that is where it all helps. You're a part of that circle without making much effort. And also, if I talk about parents who are from similar industry, and a student has made a choice, the parents also are more willing to accept their child's choices. If the child wants to do a certain thing and the parents have an understanding, they will be willing to accept it. Because they have a mindset, which also allows the student to take the challenges and opportunities which they might face, or they might have with confidence in later life also. So I think these are the ways. Obviously parents' role is tremendous, but another thing I'd like to add is, whatever, it's very important to just be behind your child and always encourage.
Wonderful, Rashmi. I think I surely agree with you over here. And thank you so much, I would say, for such a useful insights of the future of our industry. I'm sure we had a very, very useful discussion on how college plays an important role to bridge the gap between the learning and the industry, and to make your child ready for the challenges and opportunities of the industry. So now we really would look forward to parents encouraging their children to participate in a GAT exam, that is the General Aptitude Test, which is on 26 February 2022. Become a part of the interior world. It is very important to give a GAT exam. We all welcome you to make the world a better space. So I would here thank you all to being a part of this.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. So now we are opening the forum to questions and answers. I would request you all to kindly write questions in the chat box. We would be happy to answer your queries or anything further you want to know. So Rashmi, while doing the registration, some of the questions are there. So I would like to start from there.
Sure.
The first question that was asked to how to kickstart the career in interior designing. So I really want to answer over here, if you don't mind, that students usually start with internship position, as we mentioned earlier, lasting from there to 3 to 6 months, I would say. So many a times they are offered as a role of junior designer, kitchen designer, and even I would say furniture designer, and of course the space designing is always there in the same firm. They can move up to become a design manager and the senior most position in the design firm or a creative head. So such people would have a team, in fact, to work with under them. So I would say for any student who has skills and is ready to work hard, climbing this ladder should not be difficult. I am sure you agree with me on this
Yeah,
answer.
absolutely.
There was another question, Rashmi. What companies do normally hire interior designers?
Okay.
I would
Uh,
like you
you
to
want?
answer over here.
Okay. Yeah. Sure. Sure, Shipra. I think all types of companies. There is no one type of company which hires interior designers, but also I'll give you some names later. But I think the maximum employment, which I read somewhere, is given by specialized design firms. For example, interior design firms or architectural firms, which are also, for example, there are interior design firms which are doing office projects, or there are interior design firms which are doing hospitality. So more than 20% of job opportunities, clear cut, comes from there. Then there are furniture stores and manufacturing, hospitality. So, we earlier talked about these opportunities, and all these are giving employment to our young designers. Uh, Here I'd like to mention some names where students from our college have gained employment. So, when I talk about designers, the prominent ones would be Miss Lipika Sood, Mr. Manjeet Bhullar, then Miss Natasha Kohli, Mr. Nilanjal Bhowal. So all these are prominent. Some, I mean, it's a huge. There is a huge list, but these are some names which strike me at the moment. And there are many, manufacturing or retail firms also which employ students who've passed out, and like Hackers, Hoolstar, Art Form India, 20 North, etc. So again, the list is endless. So these are some companies which have hired the designers from here in the past.
So this has given a good idea. So
Yeah.
where they can work.
Shipra, I can see another question
Okay.
popping
Yeah.
up. This is apart from academics. What are the other mediums that a student gets, through which the student gets practical knowledge? Okay, I'd like to answer this too. I think it's a very relevant question. We cannot emphasize enough on the importance of learning outside of the class studios. Of course, class studios, your lectures, everything, your theory is very important. But this is researched and this is proven that students learn maximum when they experience things in a practical manner. So here at JD Institute of Technology, there are workshops like furniture hardware workshops. There are art of public speaking, presentation by Image Consulting Business Institute. There are a lot of industry visits like, kitchen, commercial kitchen factory, or a designer tile showroom, or a Hafle or a Hetic showroom. So all these, industry visits to these manufacturing units and showrooms, all the workshops which are conducted in-house at the campus, which is basically could be a ceramic working or a clay working or a craft workshop. And also and especially this happened during pandemic because students could not go out to these workshops for certain period. So there were a lot of there were a lot of seminars and sessions which happened from industry experts. So if we could not go out, they came to us through virtual seminars and sessions. So, as they say, the learning should not stop in whichever way. So these were the practical ways which were evolved and which have been going on. And we made sure that the students were connected to the industry through these virtual sessions and webinars, etc. So yeah, I mean, I agree with whosoever has written this question that students do get a lot of practical knowledge from, this hands-on working and actually seeing materials and experiencing them. Okay, I think, yeah. So there's another one. What all experiences do we need to open an interior design firm? And what are the pros and cons of it? What all should be kept in mind before opening a firm? So Shipra, would you like to answer that?
Yeah, sure, I can. Would love to do it. Well, the fact is that it's always better to work under an established design firm to gain a hands-on experience before working for your own company, before going for your own company. Then comes one learns client handling in this, get exposed to the ways in which a design studio works. Once you want to work for your own company, the departments, the roles and responsibility, and how the designers work with other consultants, and much more. And there are many, I would say, tricks of the trade in sense of financial management specifically and marketing. No amount of theory can substitute for such rich experience. So you should work under some design company. So I would like to say it's always better to spend a couple of years, I would say, under sub designers before taking a plunge into your own business. It will certainly prepare you always to move further, and I would say the difficulties are about to come.
I totally agree with you, Shipra. Working under somebody for some time really enhances and, kind of prepares you for your own business later.
Yeah.
So there's another one. We have time. Can we take this? Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
This is an interesting one. And if you don't mind, I'd like to take this. So can creativity be developed or built? Or is it inborn? Very interesting question. What can I do to become a good designer? So this student wants to be creative. Can it be built? There are doubts. And what can I do to become a good designer? Okay, very interesting. Some people are naturally creative. We feel so that, inborn hai, they are inborn. This talent is inborn. But, the point here is, how does one build or develop creativity? Because, okay, there is one part which we say is natural or inborn. So what we do is the foundation modules, which are here done at the college, they focus on this very important aspect. We understand that being creative is so essential. So everything which people do in the first in the foundation module semester, the aim is precisely this. Exercises are aimed to bring out the creative best of each student, because I think you would agree, Shipra, I really feel that each one of us is creative. We are all creative in different ways. It's not that somebody is more creative than the other. It is just that we need to learn to express our creativity. Some people are better at expressing the creativity, and some people are not able to do that. So when I say exercises or what we do in the foundation modules, this is what we aim to do, so that each one of you has got creativity inside of you, because each one of you is different, but you should know how to express it. So with, with proper and very methodical training, which is both theoretical, which is important, very important, and also practical, it is very much possible, and once, you learn how to let out that creativity, to express that creativity, once you learn the design process, which is taught in a very methodical manner, you will be a good designer. So, my dear student, you don't need to worry. I think do register yourself for GAT, as Shipra ma'am just told about the dates. I think all it takes is some hard work, some bit of dedication, and great deal of enjoyment. You need to have fun while designing, and you will become a successful designer. There is no doubt.
Rashmi, we have just received a question in the chat box. Ma'am, if we open our own company, then what would be an important thing to keep in mind? So I think we have covered little bit much, I would say, in the previous question.
Yeah.
So I just want to revise it over here, that if you want to open your own company, then you have to gain the hands-on experience working in some design company beforehand, to know the client requirements, how to handle the client, the roles and responsibilities you have to handle, and even the finance management and marketing. So I think so it has been covered, and I'm telling you that you just have to work for some time, some years, to know how the industry works, to maintain a relationship between client and even the finances.
So I would just like to add one or two points here, Shipra ma'am, if you may allow.
Yeah.
So, like Madhav Chaudhary, I can see. So as we mentioned earlier also, have your goal very clear. So you want to open a design firm. What do you want to deal into? What kind of design firm? What kind of people do you want to cater to? So you should have your market. Who's your target audience? Where are you opening this firm? Even things like, is it being is it in South Delhi? Is it in West Delhi? What is the demography of people you are targeting? What is the crowd like there? So, and what do you personally enjoy doing? So all these are very important, because you should have a very clear vision, and of course all the other things which Shipra ma'am mentioned very clearly, and yeah, you should be very successful.
Yeah, I think you should have once you work in the industry, you come to know there are so many fields. You want to be a 3D modeler, you want to work as a AutoCAD drafter, or you want to be in a site. So you love to know what do you want to work specifically in the industry or within the firm. So even at the later stage, I feel if students or parents have any questions related to the interior design field, they can always connect with us later on, and we will be more than glad to help you. So we hope you enjoyed the session. Thank you all, and have a very good evening. Thank you all.
Thank you all. Thank you.